this is Rufaro, and welcome to my channel. Thank you all for hanging in there during this season or this series of insurance. We've gone over just what insurance is, life insurance, and now we're carrying on with life insurance for part 3, which is the last and final stretch on this series of insurance. Again, I started this because September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. And again, before you dive into the rest of the video, please go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with someone because, again, there is so much knowledge to be gained from this video as Tiana shares with us. So I hope you enjoyed this video.
Biggest thing with universal life, flexibility. That's really what you're looking for, right? Now, some people will say, okay, great. Well, how does the cash value grow? Typically, it's through like dividends or a guaranteed interest with like whole life and these things. It's not going to grow too crazy, right? So if you say dividends, guaranteed interest, you're talking about maybe 3% a year, 4% a year max, right? So some people might say, okay, great. That sounds nice, but I want more than that, right? You know, I'm selfish. It's great that there's somebody else who's going to get the death benefit, but I want really good cash value. Give me the 8%. Give me the 9%. But it may make more sense for them to get something called the variable universal life.
So that's under, so there's, okay, so that's on Universal. Universal has its own branch, which is, okay.
Yep. So whole life, there's just plain universal, it's a flexible, and then the last one I'll talk about is like a variable universal. And all that really means is that you can invest in the stock market inside of this life policy. Now, if you said, okay, great, I can't deal with 2%, I can't deal with 3%, I need greater returns. You know, I want it to make sense because I'm investing in this insurance, right? Like we said before, it's not a bill, it's an investment. But I want my return proper. You can get what's called a variable universal life. Now you can partake in the stock market, and whatever gains you're getting in there is what will build your cash value a lot quickly. So if you said, you know what, I already invest maybe in like a Robinhood app or something like that, you can do the same things inside of a life policy.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Yeah. So with that, would my advisor be the one who's like choosing the stocks for me as well? Or do I have the freedom to say, oh no, let me, let me choose the stocks that I want. Let me choose the stocks by myself. How does that work? You have both situations, or?
So just to backtrack a little bit, with term, with whole life, even plain universal, all you really need is someone who is life insurance licensed. But when you step into the variable realm, you are going to have somebody who is life licensed and also series licensed, which just means that they're licensed to actually sell securities, stocks, mutual funds, those kinds of things. So now once you find somebody like that, typically it'll be like a financial professional like myself. At time they'll let you know, okay, great, based off what you're looking for, based off your something called a risk tolerance, maybe these are the types of funds that make sense. Now if you're someone who is maybe already privy to investing and you already understand it and you say, hey, listen, I want these particular funds, so long as it's offered within that contract, you can absolutely choose it, right? So you'll have to say, okay, I want to put it at this ratio, right? I'm allowed to do it at that. But if you're someone who's maybe new to it and you're like, I don't want to make those decisions, we'll be the ones to guide you through it and say, well, based off what you're looking for, this makes sense. We're going to put you in these kinds of funds.
This is why I hear people say, people don't really understand life insurance because people are actually making money with, with the insurance.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's one of the hidden gems. Honestly, it's really not a secret, but a lot of people, especially in our community, just don't know about it. So even going way back, when you say, okay, great, why am I putting money into this insurance? I don't want to pay somebody month to month because I'm still alive every single month. If you know for sure you will die at some point, let's just call it what it is. But you say, you know what, I want to make the most out of it. It makes perfectly sense. This may be something that makes sense for you because now we can use this as an investment while you're alive so that you're not thinking of it as a bill. And we can leave money behind so our loved ones once we're gone. And we can do so in a tax-free manner. And so that's really where this kicks in and starts to really hit the sweet spot where we say, okay, great, now I can get the best of both worlds. I'm taking care of everybody. I feel good about it. now it just makes sense. This is where we get the aha moment, right?
No, yeah, no, this is so good. Oh man, this is good. Okay, so what about, can you have two types of life insurance policies?
Absolutely. Honestly, you can have 10 policies, you can have 20. They can all be different types. It doesn't matter, but there isn't like an aggregate total. And it really is just based off the amount of money that you make on a yearly basis, right?
Okay.
So you can say, okay, great. Maybe I have like 20 types of policies, 40 policies. One is universal, one is term, one is whole life, whatever the case is. As long as all together, you're not surpassing a certain multiple of your income, you're okay.
Okay, I didn't even know that part. Okay, so that's really good. So, earlier on you're talking about how you have to go to a licensed life insurance professional, like who can help you with this. So how do people find a good life insurance? Like, how do you know this is a good person to go to?
So for me personally, it's all about credentials and personality, to be honest. You can find a million people licensed to sell life insurance. You can find a million different financial advisors, but at the end of the day, you want to do business with somebody that you're comfortable with, because at the end of the day, it's still business, right? You're going through a transaction. You're and that is investments, and it makes sense for you, but it is still a business transaction. So do I want to do it with someone that I feel is maybe untrustworthy, someone who's not taking the time to explain the things to me, or would I prefer to deal with somebody that I can trust, maybe somebody who really breaks it down and makes me feel comfortable, right? So anytime that you're exchanging money for a service, you should feel totally comfortable in what you're doing. So I would say, generally speaking, you can start by broad search, right? Start by maybe Google. A lot of people now actually will do like social media searches, Facebook, Instagram, because, that's just kind of the demographic and world that we're in. And I've had plenty of people really just reach out to me on Instagram and say, hey, listen, I found your page. I was looking for an advisor. Let's meet. We do a preliminary phone call to get to know each other better. And based off that, then they get to make their decision, do I want to move forward or not, right? So start with your broad search, narrow it down. Make sure that you have a conversation with the person, really gets to determine how you feel about it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And what you're saying about social media, I think that's also a really good place to look at as well. Because
absolutely.
Like I've seen on your page, you host a lot of live videos, you go on your story as well, really educating people, which I think is so important because, if you're finding someone to who you trust with your money, you actually need to know that this person understands what they're doing. And for them, it's beyond just the money because they actually care about you. And so I think the fact that you definitely share these videos and you're educating people is it's key, man. So
thank you.
I love it. I said, let me throw in that.
I appreciate that.
But another thing as well, I had a question for you is, I was reading a lot as well. So of course, we know this year has been so crazy. COVID. Let me backtrack. The fires in Australia. We thought we were going to have another world war. Then there was like just so much. Then COVID, and then just so many killings. I mean, of course, this has been happening for the longest, but just now a lot of it has been really televised, and we're aware of it, right? And so, especially in the Black community, there's just been so much happening. We know there's so many people being killed in the Black community. So, what does the role of life insurance have in the Black community with regards to, the movement that's happening?
I mean, to be honest, this is something that is definitely like it touches home with me, and it's frustrating because not nearly enough Black people really have or understand life insurance. And it's sad. You'll see every other, almost every other day, somebody has a GoFundMe page up. We have to fundraise for a funeral. Basic funeral cost alone is about like $12,000 on average. So, just imagine something unexpected happens and now people are looking at you to pay $12,000 out of pocket. That's big, right? Something that we're always prepared to do. And so not a lot of people really have it, but they should, right? So even if you said, hey, listen, I'm not financially in a position where I can invest in a policy, right? I don't feel like I'm making up. I'm only left with maybe, $100 at the end of the month after everything. And I need that to build up because I'm looking to buy a home, whatever the case may be. If you can just say, okay, great, well, let's just get maybe a final expense policy, or let me just get a term policy. Let me get something basic. or I'm paying maybe $20 a month, $25 a month, and now they're at least willing to pay out the maybe $50,000 for me. At least I know I took care of it, right? So I got my final expense done. Maybe I even have a little bit of money left over to go to the beneficiaries, right, to their kids so that they're okay. Right? So it's huge in terms of it's not playing the role that it needs to in our community, but we need this as a pillar, right? This is really the backbone of any proper plan. And the fact that a lot of us don't have it, but we see that literally left and right, we're dropping like flies, is very alarming.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's really sad, and I, seen a lot as well. If you could explain this, I don't know how far true this is, but where people have been saying, really, if Black people have life insurance, then let's say with all these killings, it's not, the company that insures you would kind of go after like, how does that work? Is that true, or?
I mean,
oh, is that just people, I don't know, trying to just encourage people to get life insurance? Because in my mind, I was like, okay, you're insured, so it could make sense. I don't know. What is it?
That gets a little more political and controversial.
Okay.
I understand the thought process behind it. I do, I get the process behind it. So, if you really think about it, right? Let's say right now the average 30-year-old, even if you're just talking terms, pays $30 a month, they're going to get a death benefit that's like $700,000. Let's call it even, $35, they'll get $1 million death benefit, right? If you have so many people getting these $1 million death benefits, you get 100 people doing that, right? It's $100 million. If those have to get paid out, and now we're hitting the point of they're like, okay, great. Our wallets are really getting hit now. We are paying out so many more claims than we're used to. Let's really take some time and start to really consider what we're doing, right? That's kind of their thought process behind it, is that once they financially get hit, they'll kind of have to slow down and really think about what's going on. And so I understand the thought process behind it. I wouldn't say how valid or invalid it is.
Yeah.
Can't speak to that, but I get what they're saying for sure.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I need an expert in this space to explain it to me. But yeah, no, but I mean, again, like what you said at the beginning, I think it's definitely important that people do get life insurance, because we're going to die. These are things we don't think about, and at the end of the day, it's really about leaving your family in a better place. It's not like you don't want to die and then they left with all these bills. You're doing a GoFund and you're doing all these things. So it's really great. It's like, for example, so I'm from Zimbabwe as well, and just like it's now, just growing up, you've known that when someone dies, people coming together and they're just contributing money for the funeral, for food, everything. It's just something that I grew up knowing, and I thought it was normal. So just knowing that you have the chance to actually put money aside and actually, make sure that your family will be okay. You'll have money for your funeral, and your family will actually stay with money behind. So I definitely
and I think about it like this too, right? When we talk about the earlier the better. So, and I actually ran these numbers a little before we got on, just so I can, have something a little valid. So if a 25-year-old female wanted to get just like a $100,000 policy right now, right? Permanent. Actual cost, we're not really looking for crazy cash value. We care about the death benefit itself. They'd be paying about $40 a month. Now, if somebody will say, okay, but they're so young, they're going to pay forever and ever and ever, does it really make sense? If you do the math on that, if they live to age 100, it's not very common, but let's say they ran to age 100, they would have put in a little over $36,000, but they would have got paid out $100,000 to somebody. When you look at that and you say you more than doubled your money, it just makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And that's assuming you live all the way to 100, which, if we're being honest, not everybody's going to do that. So, you know what I mean? It makes sense. And so that's really the figures that you want to look at. The amount that I'm paying for really going to make sense in such an exponential way that I'm like, it's a no-brainer, right? Now I'm leveraging my money for theirs, right? I'm just a fraction of what they would pay out. So I know for sure I'm going to win.
Love this. And even, come on, especially for people who would think, oh, but that's $40. It's a lot. But honestly, if you think about it, every month you probably use $40 or more to go and eat
just
out.
Subscription.
Exactly. On subscriptions you forgot to cancel. Like, and I think that's why it's so important again to just write down your expenses and see how you can actually be contributing this money towards something that's not only going to help you but going to help, you know, your family after. So I really like that breakdown and the numbers. Hold on, I had another question that I jotted down for you. Oh, but this is so good, man. I'm learning so much.
Good. I'm glad. That's why we're here. You know, this month is big. So.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess the question I have also is really for just since we said September's Life Insurance Month. What are some of the initiatives you've been doing really to raise awareness, especially in the Black community as well? As we mentioned already, like we know that not a lot of people know about life insurance. What are some of the things you've been doing on that?
Ooh, that's a good one. I like it. So I actually have, well, for one, we got this nice little video here. And I've been just delayed with putting up my video, but this week I'm actually doing another video on my page just to do like a brief overview. It's going to be really short because a lot of people online just like to listen to like a minute or less. But that is one of the things I'm doing. Outside of that, I do a lot of email drips, right? So everybody that I have in terms of having their emails, whether they're clients or not, I've just been sending out stuff throughout the month just to kind of almost like little facts, right? So, hey, did you know this, and that, right? Did you know that this is A, Life Insurance Awareness Month? B, do you understand the different types, right? C, you know, do you know how you can really make this make sense for yourself? So for me, it's just all about spreading awareness. The more people that know about it, the better it is. I've actually also did like an Instagram live a couple of weeks ago, just kind of going over it with one of my other partners. So just things like that. So really just kind of get the information out there.
Okay. I love that. And then another question as well, people go over, do you have, this question is a bit all over the place. I should have asked this earlier on, but I thought of it just now. Do you have to be employed to get life insurance? Like, is there a requirement? Do they look at, oh, you know how you need your credit? They look at your credit for a whole bunch of things. You need to look at that. They need to see if you have a job. Like,
yeah. So the biggest thing that they're looking for is just that, can you pay for it? Pretty much. You don't necessarily need to be employed for a certain amount of time. They don't do credit checks, something like that. Now, something big that we do, because I do a lot with the variable policies, because, you know, I'm heavy in the stock market as well. We'll look for like a, making sure that you're not coming up on like a terrorist list, something like that, or any kind of like money laundering stuff. But they don't really look for anything in particular like that. So all they're looking for is, okay, great, this policy is $40 a month. I'm going to ask you, how much are you making? Can you afford to pay this? Yes. Okay, great. We're not checking into it. We're not calling your employers. We're not asking for W-2s. We're not even asking for pay stubs. But I'm going to ask you, can you afford to pay this? Yes. Great. I'm going to take your word for it. We're going to assume that you can afford to pay it. We're good.
Okay. And then another question, I've come to you guys and I'm trying to get my life insurance. So is it like just we sign these documents, do the transaction on the first day, and that's it, like peace? I talk to you guys when later on when I'm sick and I'm thinking about to die. How does that go? Do you guys, you know, stay in touch on a few things and keep educating? You know, what's that relationship like? Because I know you talked about it being also really good relationship based. I just want to understand.
Absolutely. So that one is going to vary from advisor to advisor, or rather like, you know, insurance agent to insurance agent, depending on who you set it up with. And that's also why it's really important to ask these questions and see the relationship. So with just general insurance agents, typically they won't have such an ongoing relationship. They may check in every couple of years if something needs to be changed, something like that. On the advisory side, bare minimum, we are required by law to check in at least once a year. But typically, I'll check in with my clients a couple times throughout the year. Hey, how's everything going? At the end of the year, we'll do a review. So this is how your policy looks now. This is how the cash value looks now. If it's just a term, you know, the term is still in its place. Are you looking to convert soon? Do you want to keep it how it is? We'll just do check-ins to see if your needs have changed, right? Because that's the whole purpose. You're in your lifetime, your needs will change. So if you get a life policy while you're 20, you know, maybe you only felt you needed $100,000, but a couple years down the line, you have kids and you feel like, hey, listen, I want to leave behind a legacy. I want $1 million policy. Great, your needs have changed. Now let's address them. So we'll always do like periodic check-ins. I know for myself, I speak to my clients at least like 2-3 times a year minimum. And that's assuming that they're already on their way, you know, they're good to go, and they're like, there's not much for us to talk about. But it's really whenever you feel the need. So, hey, listen, I have a question about this. Let's just kind of go over it. Great. We'll set up some time. We'll get on a call. We'll knock it out.
Okay. I love that. Shoot, I'm sold. I hope everyone else is sold on this as well. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to share? Any last gems you want to share with everyone on this channel? Yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, if there's one takeaway to take from today's conversation, I cannot stress enough, the earlier you start, the better. And really, a lot of people say, hey, listen, it's not for me. I really don't need it. Maybe you feel you don't have loved ones to leave the money for. To be honest, maybe you don't have a need for it. That's okay. But if you feel that you do have a need for it, or you may eventually, right? Maybe right now you don't feel the need because we're young, but I do want to have kids down the line. You want to lock that in as soon as possible. You don't want to wait for that. Because if we're being honest, you never know what's going to happen. God forbid something could happen, and, you know, maybe now you picked up a chronic illness, right? People get, you know, unfortunately get cancer left and right. And those are going to be the things that are going to end up being like hard nosed. A lot of insurance companies, because of what happened this year with the coronavirus, have adjusted what they consider as requirements. They're starting to become a lot more strict now. They're saying, okay, great, I really need your tip-top health rating. If you're over a certain age, maybe no longer will we accept certain things that we used to, right? If you had the coronavirus, maybe now we're going to start digging a little deeper. So they are changing their criteria. And it's very important that before they really lock in something, you know, a lot more stringent, that you really have that conversation from now, right? That you just start early, start doing the research as soon as you can, to be honest, because I can't really think of too many people who would not benefit from having some form of a life policy.
Okay. Yeah, I love this. This has been, oh gosh, this has been so good. And so much. You have so much like wisdom and so much wealth just to share. And I absolutely love this. Yeah, so could you, I guess I'll put your information in the description for this video as well. But if you could just say everything you'll say for your description, for where to find you, etc., I'll write it down. But if you could say, you know, your Instagram or how people can reach you. I know you talked about you have phone calls. I'm sure, you know, that all the information is in there. If people want you to advise them, how do they reach you?
So Instagram will probably be a great channel. So my Instagram is at Tiana Robinson _. So TianaRobinson_. On my page, you'll actually see a link to my Zing calendar, my online calendar, where you can schedule a preliminary phone call or you can schedule a whole consultation. I do my consultations for free. So don't feel pressured like, okay,
it's free, guys. You need to max.
You know, you don't need a certain amount of money just to speak to me. You know, that's something that I do complimentary because I really do believe that this information has to be out there. So Instagram is going to be the best way for you to reach me. My page is public. You can kind of get a feel of what I have going on throughout the page. Use the link if you want to speak a little further, and then we'll just set up some time for a phone call.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you so much. And I think if you guys are watching this, definitely follow on Instagram. Not only does she go over, you know, life insurance information, she's a financial advisor, so she will educate you on, especially when coronavirus was happening, then there was the whole market crash and all of that stuff. Always sharing information on literally understanding, okay, what's the stock market? Okay, just so things that you need to know. So, you know, I mean, I'm always saying people on Instagram, you're connected with people, but you need to look at the people you're connected with. Are they adding value to you? Because that's what you're seeing on your timeline. Yes, I love my friends. We all love our friends and our family. Have them. But you need to have people as well who you're learning from, who you're gaining from. If you spend 5 hours on IG, make sure a lot of those people who are on IG connected to you can add value to you. You can learn from them because at the end of the day, it's all about leveling up, creating this generational wealth, and, you know, just being better individuals. So yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, no. So thank you so much, Tiana, for this. This was such a great session, great recording, and you'll actually be my first guest on my channel.
I'm so honored. Thank you.
This is so perfect. This will be your virtual birthday gift from me.
Yes, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and so thanks again, and I thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to, you can like if you enjoyed this material. You can subscribe and join the family, and please share this with someone, because I'm always stressing this in my videos. At the end of the day, I believe that with your friends or with just people in your family, you want to be someone who can add value to them, educate someone on this life insurance, right? Educate your friends, because at the end of the day, we all want to be greater together. There's no point in you getting there alone, right? You need to bring people up with you. So, yeah.
Absolutely.